Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Mind, Your Body and Soul, the healthiest podcast you have ever heard in your entire life. I am your host, Joseph Ward, here representing Neighborhood Medical Center. And as always, I have a great interview. Remember, we use this platform to connect our community to the resources within our community, because you may not know about the resources that are available. So we want to be a part of making sure that you have access to the resources and a face to place with the resources. So this interview today, I'm excited about because we have a great person. We've known each other 5, 6, 7 months. Yeah. It's been a good ride, but I had a chance to sit by her our first time meeting up in Leadership Tallahassee. And when I was sitting to her, I was like, I know she's important. I just know it. But the energy and everything that you have and that you bring to the table, I appreciate what you do. So this is Molly Lord. She is the CEO of Big Brothers, Big Sisters of the Big Ben, and I'm happy to have you here today.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So before we get into the Big Brothers, Big Sisters, you as the professional, I want to learn more about you as Molly. So give us some background information about yourself and how did you end up in Tallahassee?
Yeah. Well, I always love that question because I came up here for school.
Right.
And much to my chagrin, I stayed. I grew up in Orlando, so I was ready after graduation. I was ready to go back to Orlando.
Right.
There wasn't a lot of opportunities, shopping-wise, and just outgoing and all of those things here like there is where I was from. So, however, I got sucked in because my husband, my fiance at the time, really fell in love with the fishing and the outdoors and all that Tallahassee has to offer. And we stayed and I fell in love with it. And I'm so glad that I don't live back in Orlando, that I live here in Tallahassee.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Well, see, I always say, if you allow Tallahassee will wrap his arms around you and you not want to leave. So we're glad you're here, because I'm always grateful to people who are not from Tallahassee who come and embrace our city, but also you're giving your time, your effort, and your energy to make sure our youth have a better future. So thank you for what you're doing in my community.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Yes, ma'am. So family and child science, it was your degree. Mm-hmm. So what is that?
So it is a lot about child development, and it has served me well in my career. We do practicum experiences and all those things. So, and I really focused on, during school, I focused on the adolescent age in my career. However, when I first got my job, it allowed me the opportunity to focus on those critical years of birth to 5. Okay. So my first job out of Florida State was a job over at our Early Head Start program through Kids Incorporated, and literally I worked here. This was one of our sites where we had Brandon's place. Yes. So I'm very familiar with this building and the families and all of that stuff. So we had family advocates. We had just the 0 to 3 child care center and working with low income families. Right. So I did that. I did my practicum experience over at CCYS in Boys Town. Yes. So it really fed me into my role where I'm at now. And a lot of what we do now feeds upon how a child has developed between that birth to 5 years of age. So you're either working with children who have had trauma or didn't have that quality early learning experience, and now they're struggling in school and those types of things. So I'm fortunate in that.
You're fully vested.
I am, yes.
So, funny fact, my mom lives in the apartment complex right next to CCYS.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with CCYS as far as growing up. I remember some of the kids escaping.
Yeah.
But when I started working at HIV/AIDS, I got a chance to do classes and teach classes at CCYS for about 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. So you are tried and true, working. And I just want people to understand, working here in the Lincoln Neighborhood Center, being able to work in Brandon's place, helping the low-income moms with their children, then going to CCYS, and now you're helping the children in these spaces who may have behavioral issues at home, mental health issues, all these things. So you are vested in the community.
Absolutely.
You have full experience in helping children and helping families, period.
Yeah,
Oh, that
yeah,
is great.
yeah.
That
That's
is
the.
great.
I grew up in a single parent household. We struggled with food and food insecurity. So I know
Yes.
what it's like to live and struggle. I think I was very fortunate in some ways but also we moved every single year. So I know what it's like to move because the rent gets too high or those types of things. So everybody has their own struggles.
Right.
No matter where they are, they have their own struggles, and it's how they overcome those situations that can change their future.
Exactly. And so, what made you major in child science? Was it your upbringing, or was it other things that may have inspired you along with your upbringing that made you want to major in child science and take this path?
Yeah. So that's a good question. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. My mom worked in a child care center, so that's kind of really what I knew, and this was the route for that. After college, I graduated. I went to work for a child care center, and I was like, oh nope, this isn't for me. And so I needed something else. I know I still wanted to work with families, and I loved kids. I babysat all throughout high school. That was my job in high school. And so I knew I always wanted to work with kids, and in one capacity, I just didn't know that yet until I got my job at Kids Incorporated. And I started out as an OPS in a temp position there. And worked my way up. I started as an administrative assistant. So
That's amazing. Your field chose you
yeah, that's a good way. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
because you had the passion for working with children. You just didn't know the capacity of what you want to do with it. But working at Kids Incorporated helped you get a clearer vision of what you want to do, and here you are. That's amazing. That's amazing. I love it because it's similar to my story. If you would have told me 20 years ago I would be doing these things, I would have told you, you don't want me to be a professional football player or whatever, but now it's going through the journey and understanding. So how did you become the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters? What was that journey like?
So I have worked in nonprofit since I graduated college, and I really think that the path, as you said, my career chose me, led me to this because we serve children ages 5 to 18, but the majority of our kids are in that adolescent age range. And funny story is throughout this, my parents were divorced, but when they were together when I was young, my dad always wanted boys, and he had 3 girls.
Yes.
And so his way of being able to have that boy he always wanted, he was a big. And I remember he would go and play baseball with his little, and we would go to the games with him and all of that stuff. And so when I was applying for this role in this job, which I felt was the next step in my career, it was just, it came full circle because I was like, my dad, as I was telling him and sharing this with him, he's like, Molly, I was a big, and I said, yeah, I remember that. I remember the little boy's face, and he came from a single parent household where the father wasn't involved, and so it was a great match on that end. And so, I think that was just the next step for me in my career and where I wanted to go and how I wanted to be as a leader.
So how does it feel to know that you're walking in your purpose? You're doing your purpose. How does that feel? Every day you get to wake up and do what you love that's within your purpose. How does that feel?
It's awesome. It is really cool, and we have a couple of programs that I really want to stick my foot in there, but we created because of my personal life. Big Futures is one of them. I had a freshman who is, I'm married, so he's coming from a dual parent household, but he didn't know what he wanted to do after high school graduation. And so I knew a lot of our kids didn't as well. Right. And whether it's grandma raising them or they're with their aunt or they're siblings, and they have 5 siblings, and mom's working 2 part-time jobs or 3 part-time jobs, and she just can't focus on those types of things, that we needed to bring about a program that would help them. And then my prior role to this was working with United Way of the Big Bend. And so the focus with United Way was to really help families move out of poverty and break that cycle of generational poverty. And I think having a career, having a job can help families do that.
Yes.
And that's where we come in to be able to do that. We get to go on field trips with these students twice a year. And I go along with them because I like to have fun, and I love to see how excited they are when we get to visit, WTXL or go over to LCSO and really give them a hands-on look and perspective of what it's like in that particular field.
Gotcha. Okay. Now that's amazing. That's amazing because it's like you're working to make the community better, but you're not working.
Yeah.
You're doing what you love. So,
yeah, I have fun. I have fun
right,
doing it. Yeah.
Right. So so let's get into Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Could you tell us about it? What is Big, for those who don't know? We know it's a mentoring program, but kind of give us the details of the program.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are the area's only national research-based one-to-one mentoring program. We are part of 230 cohorts across the nation. We have been serving our community for over 50 years, so approximately 52 years on that end. And we work primarily here in Leon County, but we do serve children in the Big Bend region. It's just harder. The further we go away from Leon County, it's harder to bring mentors into that area. And so we serve children ages 5 to 18 through a variety of programs. One of them, I said, is the Big Futures program. Right. When people think of Big Brothers, Big Sisters, they primarily think of a community-based option. Mm-hmm. And the needs for littles have changed, but also the needs for the mentors. So we are only around because we have mentors. The mentors are our lifeline. If we didn't have the mentors, we couldn't serve the children that we serve. And so when most people think of Big Brothers, Big Sisters, they think of our community-based mentoring program. And that's where our bigs have contact with our families, and they're driving and they're transporting their children, and they're going out and doing fun things in the community, whether it's going to the park or going fishing, on those types of things. But we also have what we call a site-based or school-based program, where the mentor goes into the child's school and they meet with them 1 day a week during their elective class, and they'll work on either reading or math or play games or those types of things. So we're looking to build these children up. But within the last 2 years since I've been there, we've created a couple different programs, and because the need for mentors and their desire for getting engaged and involved is changing and evolving. And one of those was our Big Futures program, mainly because we had those high school students that just needed direction for their next step. But also we have a strong need for male mentors, more importantly, African American male mentors. That is the majority of the youth that are sitting on our wait list right now. And that number sits at like 117 right now for littles waiting. But because we needed more men in our program, we developed and created a program that we call Sports Buddies, which just launched this month, 2 weeks ago. And it is one of the lesser engagement opportunities for our mentors. And what I mean by that is our community-based program, we ask for a commitment of 1 year. Right. In our site-based program, we ask for a commitment of 9 months. Yes. In our Sports Buddies program, we ask for a commitment of 6 months. No matter what program they're participating in, the research shows that a minimum of 4 hours a month, consistent meeting and engagement can make a difference and impact in a child's life. And so with that, we're using the tools to break those barriers of how mentors are getting to us so we can continue to serve those children, but we're also making it fun for them. Right. The mentors want to have fun and get engaged and involved. Right. And through Sports Buddies, we're not focused on, hey, we're going to learn to play football or we're going to learn to play soccer, anything like that. We really are working to expose the youth and the bigs to different opportunities out in our community. Right. So we play kickball or the next month, because we meet on a monthly basis, we're going to do jujitsu. We're going to go bowling. We're exposing these youth to try something, maybe get out of their comfort zone, but that also allows us the opportunity to talk to them. Hey, have you ever tried this? Well, why are you scared? Those types of things to generate conversation and open those doors, if you will.
Right.
So
that's good. That's a full array of just like activities that the kids can get into, but also the bigs, because as a big, you might not have done these things yourself.
Right.
So you get these new experiences while helping somebody else. Okay, now that's great, because the idea that we create of ourselves of like big brother, big sister is, okay, you might go in and you play with them at the park. Because we television messes us up a lot. So we'll either see a commercial or I see a similar commercial, and we'll create a thought process or a narrative based off of what we think it is, and then we'll go ahead. Well, okay, they take them to the park, or they do get ice cream and get balloons. You take them to the fair, and that's a part of it. But it's more making sure they are a real resource to these children.
Absolutely. What most people don't know is when a child is enrolled in our program, they don't come in and we just do these fun things or pair them with a mentor, but we have a plan for this child. And the little and their big are working on goals. It's usually around 3 to 4 goals, but it could be working on their self-confidence. It could be working on their reading and enhancing their reading opportunities. It could be working on opening up relationships and those types of things, and what's healthy and what's not. And so it really opens the door for true conversations. I know when I was a teen, my mom could tell me something till I was blue in the face. But if another adult over here came in and said the exact same thing, I believed them more so than I did my parent. And so for youth, especially in the teenage years, is where we find more folks kind of going down a dark path. Hopefully we want them to come out of it and see, okay, I'm making the wrong decisions, or I'm hanging out with the wrong friends with it, but some don't. And in that case, they didn't have someone that was in their life as a consistent and was really helping them through that path, someone that they could talk to. And so what I get to tell my team every day is that we're in the business of making long-lasting relationships with our littles and our bigs. And people in our matches in our community-based program, our littles have been in their bigs' weddings. They've been matched, and maybe their match ended because the child turned 18 and was no longer eligible for our program, but they're still talking to them, and they're still in contact with them. So it is real relationship, and more so in that community-based program where you have the opportunity to, go out and meet in extended families or those types of things. But it truly does change not only the little's life, but the big's life as well.
Yes. I'm constantly reminding people when I go out into the community. I do classes at this village in Woodville, and I remind them that as much as I'm coming in here teaching you, I'm learning from you. I'm learning how to become a better professional, how to become a better person, how to prepare better, all these things. Because if you really take in and pay attention to the journey that you're going through as well, you're going to see how much you grow as a big, as an adult, any type of mentorship, or any type of position that you put yourself in to help people. That's amazing. So how does one become a big?
A great question. So it is we try to make things as easy as possible. And of course, everything that we do, we try to do it online. So if you go to bigbenmentoring.org and you click on Become a Big, someone can read about all the different program options that we have and find one that's good for them. And again, we've tried to create new programs that meet individuals' engagement levels, comfort levels, and schedule as well. And so with that, we go through an interview process. We do reference checks and all of that fun stuff. We do fingerprinting and background screening at our office at no cost to the mentor. We ask them to watch a 10-minute orientation, and that really just goes a little bit more in depth about our program so that they're ready to make that next step. Because what we don't want is for someone to inquire and, go through the whole process and say, nope, it's not for me.
Right.
We don't want to waste our time. We don't want to waste their time, and we don't want to get the hopes up of a little that has a big that they're waiting for and then say, sorry. And so it's really important for us that the big is at that point in their life and their career that they're ready to give that time, whether they're moving or they're getting married or they're starting school. Those are things that we ask because they're critical to us, because if that is the path that they're going to start next, that's going to consume them, and that's going to take away for the little. So if they are going through that right now and they apply, we're like, we are so thankful that you want to become a big, but it's probably not the right time for you. And so, like I said, it's easy. We have programs that fit their engagement level, their comfort level, with all of that. And through our interview process, we are able to learn a little bit more about the big, what they're comfortable with. So they might say, oh yeah, I want to be a sports buddies. But through that interview process, we learn that their schedule allows, or they might be a better fit for a site-based. So that allows us the opportunity to really work with them one-on-one and find the best fit for them.
That's great, because you're also thinking about the long-term effects of the child that could be with this person. One of the issues that we do have in the community is what we call like fly-by-night events, or just for a short time I'm here and then you're gone. Consistency and real relationship building takes time. So I applaud you all for doing that and looking out for the long-term interests of this child, because also another aspect is reinforcing trust, learning how to trust others that you don't know, because sometimes you're going to have to trust people you don't know to help you to get where you need to go.
It's a critical skill, Joe, and that's one of the components that a lot of folks might not know either, is once we make that match, they're not in this process alone. We have what we call a match support specialist that works with them, a team member, where they're working with them one-on-one. We do regular check-ins. Of course, because we're research-based, we do surveys and seeing how things are going. But we are that support person for the guardian, for the child, and for the big. And to be that conduit, that middleman, if you will, to help build that relationship, because trust is a critical component of that. And most youth have a hard time trusting individuals because they have come and gone. And so it is all about building that relationship and developing that relationship, which will take time.
And I can relate to that. My mom became disabled in '92. And from there, that really affected how we moved forward in life. Her income, she couldn't work. And so we were on, we got the commodities and also the social assistance and all the different help. But what I can remember is once a year, a group would show up. Just once a year. And so when they come, we're like, okay, well, the people here to give out free stuff, so you go get the free stuff and you just go back to your house and no relationship is built. But then later on, there was one group who would drop off food, but they would come once a month, but they would stay and talk and build relationships. So those people, when they came, we rolled out the red carpet for them, because it was a relationship going back and forth, and just try to get people to understand that when you're working in the community. And I'm glad, like, you guys not only understand it, you're employing it, but that relationship building, you have to build rapport with people that you're trying to help. If not, it's going to be tough really maintaining and getting those people to really allow you to help them the way they need.
Right. When you break down those barriers and open those doors, the pathway is just a wide open field for them, for sure.
So how do you all receive the children, the littles? How are you recruiting them out of schools, or are the parents signing them up? How are you guys finding your littles?
So another great question. It's a little bit of both. So we have a great relationship with our school district here. And we've had a long-standing relationship with them. The school district knows how critical it is for mentors in their schools to be working with their children, because the teachers can do only so much. And so we get a lot of referrals from our teachers for students that say, hey, you know what, this child, whether they've had trauma, and trauma can mean a variety of things. It can mean that they've seen violence in their community. It could be that their parents are going through divorce, right? That's trauma. That's traumatic for a child growing up, that their whole world is just shaking now and they don't know what to do, or a death of a loved one, or moving in with grandma, where they've lived with mom or dad their whole life, and now suddenly their whole world is shooken up. And so teachers give us a lot of those referrals, but also parents and guardians. They are aware of our services. They know big brothers, big sisters, whether it's that they had another child go through our program and they saw the tremendous success that they had with that their other child, or from a family or friend. And so we have self-referrals. Parents can refer. It's open on our website right now. Gotcha. We're only accepting females because our long list of young males. I don't want to bring more young males in and have them sit on our wait list. So we really want to work to get them matched first before we're allowing additional men or young boys on our wait list right now. But it's a fairly simple process. The littles and their parents go through that interview process as well. Good. So we can learn about them, what they're comfortable with, what they want out of this program. And, I will say that we have parents that sign their kids up for our program. But if the child does not want this, if they don't want to meet with a mentor, we're not going to force them. And we have to say, you know what? That's good. Thanks, mom or grandma, for signing your child up. We know that you feel that your child needs this, but until they're willing, because they have to meet. And so forced. Right there, if they don't want to do it up front, then if we even get to that matching point, and they're not wanting to meet at the early stages of it, they're not going to want to meet once we make them a match with a big and those types of things.
I like that approach, because once again, it's the long-term health of the child, the long-term mentality. But you sound like you're saying you guys look at a wraparound approach, making sure we're working with the children, but our relationship with the parents has to be important.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's critical. It's the village approach, and that's why I love it. I love the standards that our national office has put in place because of that. A lot of people just come in and provide services. It's like putting a Band-Aid, but when you don't provide that wraparound services, you're not going to make systemic change within that family and that child's life.
I'm with you 100%. Just being able to see the effects of how wraparound services work, or the lack of wraparound services. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. So, as your time as the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters, I'm sure you've had challenges that you've had to overcome. Can you give us an example of a challenge that you had and how you worked to overcome that to be able to move forward and even further the organization?
Sure. So yes, you are absolutely right. Being a CEO, there's lots of challenges. Every day is completely different. I think, our challenge is it has been for a long time. COVID put us back, as it did with many organizations and businesses with it, which I always like to think creatively and outside the box. So I like those types of challenges, to be able to implement new programs and those types of things. The landscape for mentoring is changing, and people's comfort level are changing. And that's, again, why we created something called Sports Buddies and giving bigs that opportunity, because they're not comfortable, but yet we still need those. So providing safe spaces and opportunities for us to bring together adults and children that can have a long lasting effect. It's hard to say no to a child once you've seen him and engaged with them and all of those things, because you're like, man, this kid is so cool, and look, they've gone through so much, but yet they've overcome this, and the sky's the limit for them. And what's cool is I'm a big in our site-based program. We started off in our Sports Buddies, and we were able to move over to the site-based program with it. And I will tell you is that every time I meet with my little, he's excited to see me. Good. He's got a smile on his face, and he says to me, I think he gives me more joy than I feel like I bring to him. But he says I make him smile. And if I can do that one thing to brighten up his day and his week, then gosh, yes. I'm doing the right thing, yes, right? And so I think for us, it's really looking at being creative and thinking outside the box of how we can continue to serve the children that need a mentor, but also fit in with the needs of the mentor and their comfort levels and maybe what is holding them back from becoming it. And I laugh and I joke when I'm out giving presentations, particularly to men, because I say to them is that they're afraid of the C word. Do you know what the C word is? No. It's commitment. It's commitment. Oh, no. And so when we say that, they're like, "Oh my gosh, yes, she got me. She got me." And it's commitment. Men are afraid of commitment, and so breaking down those barriers of why people are hesitant or afraid of becoming a mentor is what we get to do, and that problem that we get to solve. But the cool thing on that is I get to be engaged and involved with our kids and learn them. And meet them out in the community, whether they were a past big or a current big or a past little or a current little, with those types of things. But most oftenly what I hear is I got into this to help a child, but I didn't know how much I would get from doing that. Like they learn just as much as our littles do, being matched and paired together.
That's the mark of a good program and good leadership in the program. So thanks to you.
Thank you.
Yes. So you mentioned COVID. I didn't even think about COVID affecting mentorship programs like yourself, but what changes or pivots did you have to make? I know here, we were not able to physically go out into the community. So were you affected where you couldn't go out to the community? And if so, how did you still maintain the mentor relationship?
Yeah. Well, so I wasn't in my current role during COVID, but I know they had some pivots. And so what their first pivot was to go remotely and go digitally to keep the matches together, so that they weren't meeting in person, but they could still connect over the internet. And so that worked for some matches and it didn't work for others. And especially any new matches, because it's hard to try to develop a relationship over the internet and just seeing someone without reading their body cues and getting the vibes and the feelings from them, and feeding off one another really when you're meeting in person, with a big and a little. And so, and then of course, new people were like, nope, I am too scared. I have these personal things that I can't come in contact with anybody being sick or having this and those types of things. Or a family member got sick and they had to devote their time to that family member, which meant that they would have to close their match because they couldn't devote the time for that. So, it took a year and a half, to get everybody back to the comfort level of those, and every match was different, and so we allowed every match to do what was best for that match and for the needs of them.
Because it's a whole new world.
It was for sure.
No, this is amazing. This is great. Your energy, your passion. That's why I love talking to people about what they do and things that they love to do, because I love to see the passion comes out, like I see it in your eyes. Like this is what you really enjoy doing. So, 2-part question. What's the future for you, for Molly Lord? What's the future for you? But also, what's the future for Big Brothers Big Sisters moving forward?
Well, I'll start with the latter one first. I think for Big Brothers Big Sisters, it's really just continuing to get the message out there again, creating programs, but creating recruitment tools that fit both our needs and the community's needs so that we can serve the children together. We allow for high school bigs to become mentors. We call them high school bigs, and it's not a program, it's more of a recruitment tool to bring them in.
Gotcha.
Because it helps us serve the children. It helps them get volunteer service hours. It looks great on college applications or resumes or anything like that, because they are showing leadership, they're showing communication skills, they're showing all of these different things that can help them in their own path. With it. So I, for what Big Brothers Big Sisters does is really just creating opportunities for littles and expanding that and really getting the message out. We've been here for 52 years, but we are evolving and creating new programs and opportunities. We have big couples, big families can get engaged. So if they're like, wow, I don't, what's better than welcoming another child to your family? Empty nesters. So really trying to tap into those realms of individuals that might not think that it could be for them.
Right.
We have mentors ranging from age 16, which is the youngest, all the way up to 73. So you're never too old to become a mentor.
Right.
So, just continuing to think outside the box and bridge individuals together so that we can meet the needs of children in our community is what we're continuing to do.
Yes.
And then for me, I think what makes me, feel motivated and all that stuff is getting the word out there with those types of things. But I am ecstatic for where I'm at. I love the opportunity that I get every day to create new programs and to think collectively and create opportunities for our youth to thrive. And so, it is my goal to continue to make sure that children in our community are reaching their full potential with this. And I'm not going anywhere soon.
Yes, we're going to make sure that we keep you around. Yeah. Once again, thank you for all that you do, for the passion. You wake up every day and help to make this community better. I know so many children's lives are improving, but not just the children. The littles, the bigs, the families, everybody who's involved with the program, but it also helps the next generation have better opportunities. And like you said, think outside of the box as far as problem solving. How can we make our community better? How can we stand upon the shoulders of people like yourself, because you're helping to lay a foundation for the next generation. Of course, you understand you're standing on shoulders for generations before you, but it has to continue. So thank you for all that you do. Please let me know, let neighborhood know what's the best way that we can support and be a part of what you have going on. Because we want to make sure we keep people like you in Tallahassee. We need it. Our city has vastly improved from when I was in high school to now. The opportunities and things, it's a totally different city, but it's because of people like you. And that's why I'm always grateful, because you could have chose any city in the United States, in the world, but you chose Tallahassee and you bring your talents and your passion. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm glad. I'm happy.
Yes. So how could people get in contact with you or learn more about Big Brothers Big Sisters? What is contact?
Yeah, absolutely. So to learn more about our programs, to see if there are options and opportunities for the listeners and the viewers out there today, you can go to bigbenmentoring.org, click on Become a Big, and you'll read and see all about our different programs and opportunities for individuals to get engaged and involved. We work with businesses and companies and individuals as well. And really mentoring, a lot of companies give an hour a week, and really that's what we're asking, a minimum of 4 hours a month. So if you get that opportunity, you might want to give back and get involved. Big Brothers Big Sisters is always looking for more mentors. That's a fun and easy way to give back to our community and gain something for yourself in the process. My contact's on the website as well, so if they want to reach out, they have new ideas and opportunities. We, of course, as a nonprofit, have fundraising events all throughout the year. We've got our purple bins around town.
Yes.
So if people are decluttering their space and wanting to get rid of things that they don't wear in their closet anymore or don't fit from their kids or anything like that, we have about 50 bins around town that they can donate to all throughout the year. There's a purple bin near you for sure.
Yeah, and the bins are literally all around town. Trust me, they are. So once again, thank you very much for your time, for your passion, your energy, your words, and letting us learn more about yourself and big brothers, big sisters, and how we can be a part of it. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you. And all of her information is in the description, so make sure you go to the description to support Big Brothers, Big Sisters, as well as Neighborhood Medical Center. And remember, this is a resource guide, so peruse through this channel, through all the videos, and learn as much as you can. We love you all. We see you all next time.